Thank you, Representative. Thank you, Representative Pryor, for your great work on this legislation. And I certainly want to applaud the organizations that are in support of this, and hopefully we'll gain additional support as we move forward. 25 years ago, this month, my best friend was murdered in a German village fire shop that he owned. And over the course of time, the accused involved in that, 3 trials, several mistrials, an escape. The victims and families were forgotten. They were lost in the shuffle. What happened in the trial when the next trial was up never made it to the friends and families of my friend John Weisberg, who was a community leader who served on the CODA board here in Central Ohio. Organized a small business downtown organization, a true community leader. And in that process, something was lost. Not only my dear friend, but the involvement of those who were affected by it. They were never informed of some of the trials that were involved. And I'm not even sure to this day what happened to the alleged criminal in that case. We need to do more to protect victims and their families, to give them rights, while at the same time assuring in the court system that those accused of crimes are given all due right and due diligence. But if we don't step forward and ensure that those who are affected by this, we get lost in the system. Individuals get lost in the system. And I think that people need to be part of the process, just like they need to be part of the democratic process in supporting this legislation, to contact their legislators to say, this is important to us as victims, this is important to us as family members, and we want to ensure that we're part of the process. That's what democracy is about. Now, there's nothing we can do to bring back Representative Pryor's family, my best friend, but what we can do is bring back a sense of justice, to ensure that those who have been affected by crime have their day in court as well. So I applaud Representative Pryor and his work, and I know that as we develop a message and get out there and talk to the individuals that are involved in these kinds of issues, they'll help us spread that word. But individuals can do that as well. They can tell their story to their individual legislators, and I think that, you know, oftentimes that's what really matters. Individual stories, real faces behind every crime. There's certainly stories and real people. So I really applaud you, Representative Pryor, for your work on that. And I know that with the help of gifted legislators and attorneys and Representative Carney, your support and help, we can move this legislation forward and give family members and victims their day in court as well. So thank you, Representative Pryor, for your work on this.
My pleasure. I'd like to introduce now, if we could, Mr. David Vaughn. David is with the Ohio Crime Victims Association, and David has worked with us on this piece of legislation, as well as the folks from Mothers Against Drug Driving. And I'd like to introduce David, and then David, if you'd like to come up, if you have say a few words.
All Ohioans, whatever their faith, whatever culture they come from, whatever language they speak, they have a common sense wisdom that they use in their life that says if you owe someone something, you ought to pay it back. And that is a big piece of this legislation. It's one of the 5 core rights of crime victims that we want to see eventually in the United States Constitution. The right to be informed, present, heard, safety considered, and restitution ordered. And this legislation, besides the things that Representative Pryor has spoken about, Stewart, and one of the main pieces is the ability to have victims paid back. It's important for victims in their recovery, but I also want to add it's important for offenders who are taking responsibility for their actions to pay the victim back. Almost all offenders come back to society, and it's important for them to also say, I am taking responsibility, I have paid the victims back, and I am entering back into society with my head held high. It is true that, as Representative has said, that justice is not just for offenders, but it's for victims. And we believe, I think all Ohioans believe, that justice is not served until crime victims are. Thank you.